Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Radiant Central, and I'm your host Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. So today I want to talk about soy. I want to kind of explain and simplify what the deal is with soy. Is it something you should be avoiding, or is it something you should be eating, and why is there just this constant debate? Why is sort of like the natural health field so divided about it? And because I think a lot of people get very confused. It's kind of like they're told by one person that they should be eating soy, and then another person tells them they shouldn't. And a lot of it is about understanding what soy products are good to eat or even beneficial to eat, and which ones to stay away from. And in all, I think it really depends on someone's diet and what they're eating to begin with. Okay, because this is where the confusion is. Pretty much a few decades ago, there was a lot of studies done on different populations that were eating soy and the connection between lower incidences of cancer and heart disease and other issues, right? If you look at populations in Asia, a lot of Asian countries eat a lot of soy. They eat a lot of tofu or tempeh, or they eat edamame or natto or fermented soy. And these countries like Japan or Indonesia or parts of China, and I mean pretty much all over Asia and Southeast Asia, they're eating a lot of soy. And these countries don't have the same type of chronic illnesses and serious diseases like they do in North America. And so there was this connection made that, oh, you need to be eating more soy. Soy can help to balance out people's hormones, and soy it's full of nutrients that can be preventing cancers and all sorts of stuff, which is all great. And I would say most plant foods are phenomenal for people's health. But the issue with the pre-existing North American diet is that there's already a lot of soy in people's diets that people are not aware of. Okay? So if anyone's eating processed food, pre-made food that they're buying from either the grocery store, even from the health food store, or buying a lot of food from restaurants and other food establishments, majority of food already contains some sort of form of soy, whether it's soy oil, whether it's soy protein, or isolated soy byproducts. Majority of processed food, whether it's from a grocery store or a health food store, contains some sort of soy food. Okay, and so if people are already eating that stuff, and then on top of it, they're like, oh, I gotta be eating tofu, and I gotta be eating tempeh, and I gotta be eating edamame, and they're eating this stuff like 3 times a day, then eventually they're going to start running into issues, because the problem with soy is that eating too much of it can disrupt people's hormones. It's got phytoestrogens. It can also mess up people's thyroid function if they've got pre-existing thyroid issues, and just other things. It's too much of anything is never a good thing, no matter how healthy it is or how natural it is. And so the issue with soy is not so much soy itself, is that the North American diet, especially if someone's eating a lot of processed food and pre-made food from both grocery stores and health food stores, is that they're already getting enough soy. And so to be adding in more is just going to disrupt their body. And too much of anything is not ever a good thing. And so that's the issue with soy. So if someone, let's say, is eating like a whole food diet, and they're cooking, I would say 90% of their food or 95% of their food, and they want to eat some tofu once in a while, or some tempeh, or they want to have edamame, or soybeans, or natto, or have some miso, make some miso soup, it's not going to affect them. And in fact, it's a good addition to their diet. There's good proteins in it, there's good minerals, there's all sorts of great stuff in it, as long as their diet to begin with doesn't have the soy oil, doesn't have the soy protein or the isolated soy byproducts. But if you're eating a lot of processed food, I would say to you, stay away from eating any kind of soy product. And I would also say too, is that there's a big difference between eating foods that contain soybean oil and eating soybean protein or isolated protein and soybean byproducts, compared to actually eating the whole soybeans itself. And so when it comes down to a lot of the processed soy foods that are kind of on the market, that are marketed as health foods, like soy milk or soy protein powder, things like that, I'd actually stay away from. I'd be just eating real whole soybeans. So tofu, tempeh, edamame, things like that, things that are that are made out of the whole soybean. But I'd be staying away from the soy milk, which not only contains the soybeans but also contains soy oil. It contains all sorts of preservatives and like flavors and all sorts of weird other stuff. I mean, if you look at the ingredients on any soy milk that has been pre-made, I would say 95% of them are not just made out of plain soybeans. There's a whole other list of other things that are added into it, and I'd avoid that. The same thing goes with a soy protein powder, is that there's always a bunch of other stuff added into it, and you're way better off, because your diet could already have so much soy in it, you're much better off going with other forms of protein powders that don't have all that junk in it. Okay, so the main thing is that when it comes down to eating soy, I don't think there's a big deal of eating whole soybeans or foods that are made out of whole soybeans and that are pure foods, but stay away from the foods that are made out of soy byproducts. Now, when it comes down to how much you should be eating of it, I don't think anyone should be eating it 3 times a day. And I know back in like the 70s and 80s, a lot of people were, myself included. I believe that a lot of my own health issues I had as a teenager was because I was a vegetarian, and I was told back in the 80s and 90s that a diet full of soy was the perfect thing for a vegetarian, that I was eating soy 3 times a day for like a decade. And I ran into like hormone issues, polycystic ovarian syndrome, all sorts of stuff. And I know a lot of that probably was connected to the amount of soy I was eating. So when you're eating soy, I would suggest just having it once in a while. Myself, I eat tempeh once in a while, I have tofu once in a while, but when I'm saying once in a while, I'm having it maybe like twice a month, you know, or once a month. I'm not having it every day, and I'm not even probably having it every week, but I do have it once in a while. Here in Indonesia, they grow fresh soybeans, and it's delicious as a snack once in a while to have edamame, but it's not something I have every day. You know, with anything, as I said before, and I'll say it again, too much of anything, even if it's a good thing, is never a good thing. Okay, so once in a while, no problem, but just don't make it a staple, and always make sure to have as much variety in your diet as possible. All right, so that's my explanation of soy, and I just want to remind everyone too that the next 7-day Whole Food Challenge, it starts next Monday, February 24th. If you want to join us for 7 days of being on a whole food diet, getting rid of the junk food, the processed food, the sugar, the fast food, all of that. Join us, 7 days of eating 100% whole, real, fresh food. And so when you sign up for the program, you get the ebook and all the guidelines as to what to be eating. There's over 75 recipes within that ebook, and there's also menu planners and all sorts of stuff. Everything to kind of get you onto it and to allow you to continue on it. The main thing is that this program was designed not only to be 7 days, but it was meant to be something you can follow for the rest of your life and pretty much leave aside all the junk food, the processed food, and the fast food, and move on to eating healthier. And so once you join the program, and once it starts, it's a group program, it's online, there's an online forum, and there's also daily videos for the program itself to walk you through everything you need to know about eating a healthy whole food diet, how to get rid of the cravings and not give in to temptations, and how to socialize while eating healthy, and how to take care of yourself. And it's a great program. And if you want more information and to sign up, go to my website at radiantcentral.com, click on products, and you'll see 7-day Whole Food Challenge there. Have a super fabulous day, everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.